So these are things for you to be reflective on, inshallah. So when you look at the Quran, it's not just about, using them as formulas. They are much more than that. This is the surah I was talking to you about, the divine counsel of Surah Duha. And you see all of the things, all of the things that we've spoken about today. Here it is. And this is the best of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it? It's about Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The surah is clearly about Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we see in here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, He hasn't forsaken you. He doesn't hate you. I mean, it says, He doesn't hate you. And what is to come is better than what is now. That the last is better than the first. It means that you're going through a crisis in your life now, but you should know or have that outlook that yes, something good is going to come. And this is why the Quran says, وَإِنَّمَا مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّمَا مَعَ الْعُسْرِ, that after every difficulty, yusra, it is easy, and easy is coming. And the Mufassirin, when they talk about this particular ayah of the Quran, they talk about the proximity of the usr and the yusr. That you might think that you have a difficulty, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought ease at the same time. And this is important for us. But for every difficulty that they go through, know that there is ease, which is next to it. Ease is not far away. And these are some. So the way to help yourself is to be able to take some of these ayat of the Quran and memorize them and use them. For instance, my first slide had the ayah of the Quran, and which is taken from the incident of when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq were in that cave. You remember they were in the cave together, and then the Quraysh were after them, wanting to kill them. And Abu Bakr was so concerned about what is to happen if they would be killed. Not so much him, but the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then what happened there? What did the Prophet say? La tahzan. Don't despair. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Innahu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. So inshallah we end there. There might be some questions, but we will take some of those after the prayer, inshallah. Or if there's any quick thoughts that anybody has that they wanted to say before we finish. Yeah, brother. Yeah.
How much of such issues are medical, how much is psychological,
yeah,
or spiritual?
Yeah.
Those that are medical, how much is genetic,
Yeah.
How much is environmentally determined?
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about it is that in psychiatry, in terms of how we are treating patients, there has been a radical change. There is starting to be a radical change. And part of that radical change is showing that the medications that we are treating patients, for instance, has not been as effective as it should be. So you find that something called CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, is something which is being used more and more. But it's also about recognition that a lot is happening. So, but understanding, so people have to go through to understand what is happening to them. Cognitive behavioral therapy is not telling people what to believe or not forcing them what to believe. It's about sitting with people and helping them to go through a thought process whereby they understand what has happened to them, why it is that happened to them, and work through a solution, come up with a bespoke solution for them in that particular problem. Now, the thing about, there is this thing about, for instance, people talk about Djinn Possession, okay? And this is the first thing. But what is we often fail to recognize is that the people who suffer with jinn or being possessed by jinn, we don't believe in jinns, it is a minority. It is less than 1%. It is a very small. The vast majority of people who have a problem has a mental disorder. Sure enough, there are environmental factors and so on and so forth, but it is a mental disorder. And the environment and our lifestyle in terms of what we believe and our worldview, these things have far more impact. And materialism on its own is creating its own problems. It has given us prosperity in wealth, but it's taking away all our mental well-being. Because we are living in a society where we are rushing after things. We are developing physical disorders, not because something is wrong with our bodies, but something is wrong with the way that we are living. We are not getting the type of sleep that we ought to get, the type of nutrition that we should be having. All of these things have a tremendous impact. I don't know if you want to add to that, Nasser.
There are some many local people in the
Yeah.
Muslim community. Like I'll just give you an example. A brother got in a vehicle accident. He has some damage to his head, and the doctor prescribed medication to rectify the chemical imbalance. And he went to the Imam, and the Imam said no, and the Imam jarred him and all of that. And he stopped the medication, and it had serious consequences. And we know of people with strictly medical conditions like heart problems and so on, going to get spiritual healing. So that's one of the problems that, in other words, we tend to look at that as the solution.
Yeah.
Right? That is one. And what you're saying, I think it's important to link the Islamic solution with holistic medicine, so that apart from because research has shown that antidepressants don't really cure the problem on a long-term basis, right?
Well, we lived through an era of Prozac, and Prozac most people on Prozac, a lot of people on Prozac were killing themselves.
Yes. So it has negative side effects. But what I'm saying is that if you look at it holistically, there are some herbal remedies that need to be taken into consideration and combined with the spiritual aspect of it. So it's a holistic approach that Muslims need to adopt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to piggyback on what he said. It's like, it's the same thing when you're reading Quran right now, applying it to your life. It's kind of like about a lifestyle change, I think. Because you can't be taking the medication and expecting it to just work without you actively in your head, okay, I want to change, I want to get better. So it's not just about taking the medication alone. It's about, like you said, controlling your thoughts, or trying to at least. It's about like trying the camel.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on the medication, rely on your prayers, and that's it. You need to make an active effort consistently to get better along too.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better.
I would just like to have one input in this.
Yeah?
What I have experienced on a family basis and stuff is that in terms of the medical sector, a lot of emphasis is put on the medication without aim into weighing it off and then using the Islamic principles on a long-term basis. Because we spoke about the effectiveness of the drug itself. And it's only a temporary, and usually the initial effect is the most effective. But after a while, it does not sustain that. And what I find in terms of my experiences is that a lot of emphasis is put on the drug, but without the CBT and thing as a long-term basis, as well as the Islamic tying into the solution, to kind of maintain that for the rest of the life, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Right.
Okay, inshallah. So with this, we break for Salah now, inshallah, and then we will have lunch, inshallah. Okay, yes.